What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB. Once again, big shout out to my doggy, Martin Skirsis, for coming through and boosting up the coins. So, we got some breaking news for the great unwashed masses right now regarding His Turbulency and Dana, the slaphead, White. What are the updates? They have officially cancelled all of the Moody belts for their new operation. Here's the quotes directly from the man himself, El Slapito. Let's hear the bars from El Slapito right quick. Any second now. Bosh.
Is there going to be a Zuffa belt where like the winner of the Zuffa belt has a springboard into like Riyadh season and a championship fight, a Ring Magazine fight?
You and I have never talked about this, but the answer is yes.
Right, of course.
What will happen?
Of course, yeah. Right.
There will be a Zuffa belt, and then there will be a ring belt. And yes, I will not recognize any of the other sanctioning bodies.
Is there going to...
So, you heard it there from the man himself. Now, I have to be honest, initially, you know when Turkey and Dana have been working together for a while, in as much as the last year or whatever, and I think they put some moody thing on, what was it? Or was that the undercard of Canelo and Crawford? Either way, it hasn't been much fanfare, I'm going to be honest. Whatever they've been doing, I'm sure they've put some little moody things on somewhere. No one was watching it. But then this news also came out. The deal they have is absolutely massive. It's like $8 billion. Right? With Paramount. Yeah? Super Boxing have signed a long-term broadcast deal with Paramount for the USA, Canada, and Latin America starting from January 2026. This will begin with 12 cards a year, with plans to grow that number in subsequent years. The bouts will be available via Paramount Plus, with potential select events to be simulcast on CBS and other Paramount platforms. Now, they don't state the figure here, but the reported figure is 7.8 billion. Or somewhere in that realm. Real serious cash there. Now who knows how long the deal's for, but you can assume it's probably, normally it's a 5-year deal, isn't it? That's like 1.2 billion a year. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. My name ain't the YB or Wits, right? So I'm just, even if it was a 10-year deal though, you don't really do a 20-year deal. So if it's a 10-year deal, that's 780 million a year. That can't be right though, can it? Because you could just have every super fight you've ever imagined every year. So I don't know, whatever. My point is though, initially in the last period of time, it hasn't felt like they got the money behind it. Although Canelo Crawford, that was kind of a hybrid, right? Before the fight, there was controversy. Mauricio Suleiman, he wanted to get in the ring. Turkey told him you ain't getting in the ring. However, they did permit the belts to be shown. I think that was more for the fact they haven't quite transitioned yet. But you've just heard from D's man now. There's no way Turkey's being involved in a multi-billion-dollar venture and then continuing to placate the governing bodies. They've come out hot and rightfully so. It's about time we got rid of them. Too much weird politicking. That don't mean that... Well, listen, whatever you say about El Slapito, Dana White, the best do fight the best, more or less. There might be the occasional kind of Conor McGregor situation, but I don't mind the occasional justification. Right? If 9 times out of 10 you get the best versus the best, that'll do. And sometimes them side missions where someone with clout may get a title shot when they're not necessarily entitled to it, it makes the game exciting. Right? The UFC model for me is preferable to this boxing rubbish we got right now. Messy. Champion, 10 million belts, someone's got 1 belt, someone's hanging out, someone don't want to fight, someone's moving up. It's all messy, man. You fight, and you move up, and you drop the belt. You're not Canelo clinging on, fighting bums. Canelo, essentially, this shows you how dodgy boxing is. Canelo was a Zuffa champion. He was a Ring Magazine champion. He was undisputed. So really, it should have been absolutely impossible for him to duck Benavidez, but he did. I've never seen that in the UFC. Oh, but why be John Jones? John Jones was retired. He didn't want it, right? Dana didn't allow John Jones to fight bums instead of Tom Aspinall. which is all you can really ask for. Dana can't make John Jones fight when it's all said and done. The best thing we have is Dana's model. And now he's got the cash behind it. They can make a real run. And the Ring magazine carries the legacy of boxing. And to be honest, I'm not really interested in legacy. It makes no difference to me. Yeah? If a man has beat another man who is perceived to be the next best, for me he's the champion anyway. Two cats could box. Let's say two cats you've never heard of were boxing. And I see some proper old school shit in there. And I think, wow, these guys have pound for pound skills. And at the same time, there's four plumbers who are ducking and dodging and being weird. I'd call them the champions anyway, so I have no loyalty. I don't know, I don't get these type men. Oh, the belts, oh, the green, I just don't get it. I don't know how it turns people on. Not interested. I want to see proper serious harm being done. I want to see the best guy. That's all I'm interested in. We had Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. That could have been made 2-3 years earlier, and it would have been under Dana White. It would have been made 2-3 years earlier. Oh, but YB, we didn't get Tony Ferguson and Habib. That was a whole nother mission. They was getting sick and injured and whatever else. That wasn't because Dana wasn't trying to make it, right? He had every intention to. So get rid of them belts. They've done nothing. They've built no credibility with myself. They've built no loyalty. I can't think of the last good thing they did, to be honest. Where you thought, yeah, that's the right thing to do. I can't even give you an example. They'd be doing a bunch of weird shit, to tell the truth. What was it the other day happened? As an example, I'm not the biggest Alexander Usyk fan, but I did believe it was wrong that he was stripped of his IBF for AJ and Dubois. As it happens, it played out, and it can kind of build a storyline. Oh, but it's fake, isn't it? He was always the champion. So let's not play games here. They'd be playing too much. That's what they'd be doing. Stripping undefeated champions who have been on a lineal run. For what? You know what I mean? It's like, make that make sense. A little bit too much business there. A little bit too much politicking for my liking. So they've got what they deserve. And hopefully now, with Turkey on board with Dana, a big backer with Paramount, that's not no joke, multi-billion-dollar deal with Paramount, they should be able now to drown out. Because guess where the money going to be? Right? There's no way Turkey's already changed up to some extent. There's no way he's going to still be enabling any of these fighters to fight on. Well, do you think Riyadh's season will continue? I think Turkey did say that he's going to do Zuffa, Riyadh and Ring magazine cards, but that can't really work, if I'm honest. How does that work? Unless this Zuffa boxing is going to be all brand spanking new. It's going to be like the Contender Series. We get a bunch of names you never heard of before, and they're really going to the start. Which is possible, but I'm going to be honest, we're not going to watch it. They're going to have to bring all the current stars, sack off the Ring magazine essentially, sack off, what's its name, Riyadh season, and bring them all over there. That's the only way people are going to watch. I'm going to be honest. This ain't 1996 like it was when you started the UFC or whatever, where sports content was kind of weak. Well, certainly fight sports content was weak, and there was a gap in the market for bi-weekly fight events, right? Which is what the UFC became. Now you've got I'm not interested, but you've got BKFC, you've got boxing, you've got UFC. It's kind of, you're gonna have to hit it hard. Can you build a from the ground up organisation with a bunch of dudes no one's heard of? I guess, I don't know. If anyone can do it, it's Dana. Look at that power slap rubbish. I've never watched it, but some people do. Apparently it does really good numbers. Apparently, right? And look at that. That is completely stupid. That is proper stupid, but apparently people love it. So it can be done. No one had ever heard of them idiots. I think it's different though when you're trading on an already established sport, right? But there's nothing to say. Maybe they get a bunch of random plumbers in there, and 5 years from now, gradually, you start seeing some of this content filter through, and you see the quality of the fights are better, and you shift over there. So it depends how long term they're going to be. But if I had money to waste, it makes more sense. Bring everyone over there. Shut down Riyadh season. Shut down, because the problem with Riyadh season is as such, it's not making no money. Yeah, and you could build in I guess the timings are off, but you could build in what's it called? Zuffa? I'm not sure that's the fight promotion name, but TKO, whatever it's called, let's call it TKO. You could build in TKO Riyadh. So you could still have the fights in Riyadh for tourism, but the banner's going to be on the Paramount platform. It's all going to be one unit. A bit like how UFC does UFC Abu Dhabi. That's how they got to do it. If you got Ring Magazine, Riyadh, and then TKO, there's not going to be enough star power there. So in the short term at least, that's my only concern. Don't fill it with jobbers, man. Honestly. Because otherwise, the belts remain relevant. If Turkey's prepared to pay people on Riyadh season, normal or current fighters, let's say for example, let's say Usyk fights again. If you're going to pay Usyk to fight on Riyadh season with his normal belts, you're not getting rid of your competition. Or if you're doing a Ring Magazine card with Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, it's going to be too confusing. One product. TKO Riyadh. TKO Ring Magazine. You could even throw them things in there if it makes you feel better. Do you know what I mean? But we'll see how it plays out on the ground. But I do tend to agree with Dana, if I'm honest. People are, you don't pay the fighters, man. They ain't starving. When was the last time you saw a UFC fighter starving? To be honest. In boxing, I see a bunch of idiots. Yeah? And I gotta be honest, in the main, UFC fighters tend to be more disciplined. You don't get name me Adrian Broner out of the UFC. Right? Stupid. Name me one. Oops. They all tend to be quite intelligent. Not intelligent, but they're certainly... they tend to be better with their money. Right? They make 4, 5, 6 mil and they look like they're making 5, 4, 6 mil. AB made 20 mil and he broke. Right? Name me a big UFC fighter you see broke. So it's also a culture thing. Because it's decentralised, you can look at John Jones, but he ain't broke. So is it a case of, well, it's just the individuals in boxing are different? It's almost a culture. Boxing's completely decentralised, which in my opinion is a bit like being... When you're at the UFC, you almost got a boss. And having a boss, whatever job you're in, right, having a boss, it gives you a level of discipline and cuckage, right? Yes, a massa. No, a massa. That probably leads to you having more respect in your own life and for your own life. AB was just getting the money rolling and no one's checking on him. He's got no responsibilities. Oh, I've made 10 mil this year or 5 mil this year. I don't have to fight for 3 years. The UFC, man, they tight. They want to fight, right? There's been loads of Alex Pereira, he's fighting. Usman, he was fighting. These men want to fight. And that can't be a bad thing. There's too many divas. Tank Davis, great potential. Makes some money, disappears for 2 years. Picking and prodding. Canelo picking and prodding. A lack of consistency. I believe UFC fighters are contracted to fight as well, unless they're injured. I think they're contracted to fight two times a year or something like that. That's their obligation. So it's a different structure, and I don't necessarily disagree with it, to be honest, for sport's sake. Because the way it's been done now, it's too messy. Anyway, there is a few more videos on this topic. Oh yeah, the Muhammad Ali Act. Eggy Hearn came out saying, oh, they're going to change it. Apparently it protects fighters. I think fighters have been protected enough, to be honest. I think it's time for Calvin Candy. That's what I think it's time for. I've seen enough playing, man. I've seen enough idiocy. We don't need no more of it. Yeah? We need Calvin Candy. That's what we need right now. That's the truth. Because these men, they can't get right. They can't get right. They're playing too much. Even Usyk. Oh, I'm injured. Oh, but I'm playing football. You best believe, yeah. If Dana White's athlete said he was injured, and Dana White saw him playing football, that cat, he might not be stripped, but at the very least, they're going to make an interim belt, which is going to challenge that claim. Yeah? That's what they're going to do. As an example. Maybe not the best example, but that's what needs to be done, man. These cats need to be tight. Because right now, they all feel like they're their own boss, which they are, and that's part of the problem. Because that requires you to be responsible. If you're not your own boss, yes, a massa, no, a massa. That's what we need to do. Yes, a massa. That's what I want to hear, man. I'm ready to fight. And also, I ain't paid too much. These UFC man making 1 million here, 2 million there. It's enough, but it's maybe not enough to make you think, look at Ryan Garcia. Talented. He makes 20 mil for a crap fight, and he's not fussed now, is he? Oops, never mind. I'm drinking liquor, right? So even the white boys, they move it. Ryan Garcia moving mad. When was the last time you saw Ryan Garcia in the UFC? They hungry. Oh, but why be McGregor? McGregor, to be fair, he achieved more or less it all. Double champion. Then, if anything, guess when did he fall off? His peak was beating Aldo, but still, he fell off after what? Oops. He fell off when he came to boxing. Right? That's a documented fact. That's when he really just lost his head completely. Before that, he started getting a bit messier after the end of 2015, but he was still fighting. Right? In fact, he beat Aldo, then he fought Nate Diaz like 4 months later. Right? And then he fought Nate Diaz again, I believe. Or was it Floyd now? Whatever, you get the point. Anyway, the last video I'll show you is this one. Dana White implies he's going to be changing some of the boxing rules for this new promotion.
We're already working on a new design for the ring. And I don't know if you noticed how we had the LEDs around the ring in the last one. So that meeting was yesterday too. We had a huge design meeting for a new boxing ring. So yes, we will bring lots of different elements to the production and to the sport. And yes, possibly even rule changes. I wouldn't say no to that. I'm not right now. I'm not sitting here saying we're going to change rules and we have a list of rules we want to change, but I wouldn't say no, that's not possible either.
Absolutely. Rules need to be changed. The clinch, banned, outlawed. I've never seen a clinch add value. And or, at the very most, a clinch should be like an umpire's call in tennis. It should be like you get one per round, which will add to the drama. Oh, he's clinching. Oh, he must be in trouble. It shouldn't be a jab and grab tactic. It's really painful to watch. Or a lazy tactic. Or a I'm too tired to do anything else tactic, which we often see in more so, well, we see it everywhere, but heavyweight fights. If you're tired, just stand there like a big idiot, right in the pocket of that. Just stand right there if you're tired. That's what they should do. Or move your feet, or move your head, or just stand there with your hands down and your chin in the air if you must. Not clinching. It's horrible to watch. No good at all. Adds no value. Not one person, apart from maybe Lennox Lewis homosexuals, think that anyone wants to see a clinch. Oh, it was the best when he did it. It sucks. Honestly. I'm not biased. If it was good, I'd tell you that. It sucks. It spoils fights. Yeah? The clinch must go. I think the ring size, it should be 18 foot above, for argument's sake, 154, and below 16 foot. The gloves as well. I think they should be 6 ounces. Not the UFC style. Normal boxing gloves, but 6 ounces. Why? More knockouts. And anecdotally, I believe there's less brain damage caused in smaller gloves. Why? In smaller gloves, you get put out. Cats in UFC get clipped and they're out and it's finished. In boxing, the gloves take that snap off, which means you can take more blows. It's not necessarily a one blow that knocks you out, that hurts you the most. That's why you don't really see many UFC fighters, even though they're in small gloves. If small gloves made it worse, we should see them with loads of more trouble. But actually, I think they in the main, they have harder fights, more headshots, fight more often, and yet they're as put together as any of the boxers are. Them big gloves take the snap off and enable you to take more of a beating than you may have otherwise. Them same shots landed in 10 ounces. If you were in 6, you might have been out cold or stopped earlier, which I believe is better. A sustained beating. If I had a choice to take a sustained beating or be clipped with a shot 3 rounds earlier, I'd rather be clipped with a shot 3 rounds earlier. From a brain damage point of view. So the ring size, the glove size, and the clinching. But the main one, listen, if they said we're going to keep the glove size and keep the ring size, the main one's the clinching. That has got to go, honestly. The ring size would be ideal and the gloves might be ideal, but the clinching is like, that really hurts me. And even people who don't watch boxing, whenever Michelle watches it, she says the same thing. It's like, what? It just stinks. It turns you know what I mean? You just turn people off. And you can always tell as well, it's pretty early in a fight. A 12-round fight, 3 rounds in, you can just tell it's a stinker. Right? These cats need to fight. If the ring's super small, 16-foot ring, they'll fight. Nowhere to go if they can't clinch. Right? Super small ring, no clinching. Now you're going to fight, which is what you're paid to do. Anyway, I'm out of here. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe. Lick off the bell. Check out my Patreon, man. Look at this one here, look. Nick Duentes is a plant for the great unwashed masses. Bosh. Yeah? Put the YB in your pocket right now for exclusive content. No doubt about it. For a small cost of a drink, the YB could be in your pocket. Johnny.